7 days from now, you check your blood pressure, and the number finally drops. Not because of a new prescription, not because you tortured yourself on a treadmill at sunrise, but because you stopped feeding the hidden biological triggers that keep your arteries under constant pressure and started using 8 specific foods that work with your body instead of against it. I'm Dr. Kevin Attawale, and over the last 2 decades working with adults over 50, I've seen something fascinating happen again and again. Men walk into follow-up appointments expecting another medication increase, only to hear their doctor say, "Whatever you're doing, keep doing it." Some even had their dosage reduced, voluntarily. Not because they found a miracle cure, because they finally understood the mechanisms driving high blood pressure in the first place. And today, I'm going to show you the exact foods and daily habits that helped make that happen. But there's something even more important coming later in this video. Because near the end, I'm going to reveal 3 healthy habits that silently sabotage blood pressure control every single day. Most people do all 3 without realizing it. And if you ignore that section, you could be canceling out half the benefits of everything else in this video. So, stay with me. Because what you learn in the next few minutes could completely change the way you think about blood pressure forever. Let's start with the part nobody explains clearly enough. Your arteries are not rigid pipes. They are living tissue, flexible, responsive, dynamic. And one of the most important substances controlling that flexibility is something called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a signaling molecule your body produces naturally. Its job is simple but powerful. It tells blood vessels to relax and widen so blood can flow with less resistance. Lower resistance means lower pressure. Here's the problem. After the age of 50, nitric oxide production begins to fall sharply. At the same time, inflammation rises, oxidative stress increases, and the inner lining of your arteries becomes less responsive. Because even if your heart is working normally, stiff, narrowed arteries force it to push harder every second of the day. That's where many blood pressure problems truly begin. And the foods we're about to discuss target this exact process. Some increase nitric oxide directly, some protect it from being destroyed. Others improve how your arteries respond to it in the first place. Let's begin with one of the most powerful, beet juice. Most people think of beets as just another vegetable. But biologically, they're closer to a natural nitric oxide booster. Beets are loaded with dietary nitrates. Once consumed, those nitrates are converted by bacteria in your mouth into nitrites, and then into active nitric oxide inside your bloodstream. That means your blood vessels literally receive a chemical signal to relax. Fast. One study published in Hypertension found that participants who drank beet juice experienced measurable blood pressure reductions within hours. The protocol used by many researchers is simple: about 1 glass daily, ideally in the morning. And consistency matters more than intensity. Now here's something even more interesting. There's another food sitting quietly in grocery stores that often contains even more usable nitrates than beets, and most people ignore it completely: arugula. This leafy green works through the same nitrate pathway, but adds another powerful advantage: potassium. Potassium helps your kidneys release excess sodium instead of retaining it. And sodium retention is one of the biggest hidden drivers of elevated blood pressure in adults over 50. Think about it like this. Sodium pulls water into your bloodstream. More water means more volume. More volume means more pressure pushing against artery walls every second. Potassium helps restore balance. That's why populations eating potassium-rich diets consistently show lower rates of hypertension and stroke. But preparation matters. Most people cook arugula into warm dishes, which reduces some of its beneficial compounds. Raw works best. A large handful added to lunch daily can make a meaningful difference over time. Simple changes matter. Now let me ask you something. When was the last time your doctor explained how your mouth bacteria affect your blood pressure? Probably never, but they do, dramatically. And that brings us to the next food: hibiscus tea. This isn't just another herbal tea with vague wellness claims. Hibiscus has been studied for its ability to support healthy blood pressure through a mechanism surprisingly similar to certain prescription medications. It influences an enzyme called ACE, angiotensin converting enzyme. That enzyme plays a major role in blood vessel constriction. When ACE activity rises, arteries tighten, blood pressure climbs. Certain medications block this process chemically. Hibiscus appears to influence it naturally. A meta-analysis reviewing multiple clinical studies found that regular hibiscus consumption produced significant reductions in systolic blood pressure in many participants. That's not internet hype. That's published data. 2 cups daily is the amount commonly studied. And unlike sugary bottled teas, pure hibiscus tea contains powerful antioxidant compounds without the massive sugar spike. Which brings me to something critical most people never connect to blood pressure. Sugar. Not just candy. Not desserts. Everyday hidden sugar. Breakfast cereals. Sweetened yogurt. Bottled juices. Flavored coffee drinks. Even healthy granola bars. These foods trigger rapid insulin spikes. And insulin doesn't just regulate blood sugar. It also influences sodium retention inside the kidneys. More insulin often means more retained sodium. More retained sodium means higher blood pressure. That's why some people wake up with relatively normal readings, then experience dangerous spikes later in the morning after breakfast. The breakfast itself becomes the trigger. And that's exactly why the next food matters so much. Raw garlic. Garlic contains sulfur compounds that influence blood vessel relaxation through an entirely separate pathway from nitric oxide. But preparation changes everything. When garlic is crushed, an enzyme reaction begins producing allicin, one of the compounds responsible for many cardiovascular benefits. But if garlic is heated immediately, that enzyme is rapidly destroyed. The chemistry stops before it fully develops. That means most people are getting the flavor of garlic without the biological impact. That means most people are getting the flavor of garlic without the biological impact. The trick is incredibly simple. Crush fresh garlic and wait about 10 minutes before eating or cooking it lightly. That waiting period allows the active compounds to form properly. Tiny change, massive difference. Actually, I'm curious about something. Do you already eat garlic regularly? Or is it mostly something you only use occasionally in cooking? Leave a comment below because I've noticed people who use garlic consistently often already have better lifestyle patterns overall. And speaking of consistency, the next food might have the strongest long-term data of anything we've discussed today. Ground flaxseed. A major clinical trial followed participants for several months and found something impressive. The group consuming flaxseed daily showed substantial reductions in blood pressure compared to the control group, and the mechanism is layered. Flaxseed provides omega-3 fatty acids that help calm arterial inflammation. It contains lignans that influence vascular function, and its soluble fiber improves gut health in ways researchers are only beginning to fully understand. Because here's something many people still don't realize. Your gut and your cardiovascular system are deeply connected. Inflammation created in the digestive system doesn't stay there. It travels. And chronic low-grade inflammation damages artery walls over time. 2 tablespoons daily is enough for most people. But there's one critical detail. It must be ground. Whole flaxseed often passes through the body largely undigested. Your body can't use what it can't access. Now, midway through this video, I need to tell you about one of the biggest silent blood pressure destroyers hiding in modern kitchens. Ultra-processed foods. Not just fast food, packaged sauces, frozen meals, processed meats, flavored chips, instant noodles, even foods labeled low-fat or heart-healthy. Many contain enormous amounts of sodium, inflammatory oils, preservatives, and hidden sugars working together against your arteries every single day. And the dangerous part is that people often underestimate how much they're consuming because it's spread across multiple meals. A sandwich here, soup there, a frozen dinner at night. Suddenly, sodium intake doubles without anyone noticing. If you've gotten value from this video so far, hit the like button and subscribe, because next week I'm covering the exact nighttime habits that quietly raise blood pressure while you sleep. And most people over 50 are doing at least 2 of them every night. Now let's continue, because the next food surprises almost everyone. Dark chocolate. Yes, really. But not the candy bar version loaded with sugar. I'm talking about high cacao dark chocolate. Ideally 85% or higher. Cacao contains flavonols that stimulate an enzyme called endothelial nitric oxide synthase. That enzyme helps your body manufacture nitric oxide internally. Completely different pathway. Same outcome. Improved vessel relaxation. Better circulation. Reduced pressure. Researchers reviewing multiple clinical trials found consistent evidence that high flavonol cocoa products support healthier blood pressure levels over time. But dosage matters. This is not permission to eat half a chocolate cake. The amounts studied are small, usually a few squares daily. Therapeutic, not excessive. And honestly, that's one of the biggest mistakes people make with healthy foods. They turn beneficial foods into overconsumption. Even healthy compounds can backfire when combined with massive sugar loads and calorie overload. Balance matters. Now the 7th food works differently from everything else we've discussed. Instead of helping create nitric oxide, it helps protect it from being destroyed. Pomegranate juice. Nitric oxide is fragile. Inflammation, poor sleep, smoking, chronic stress, processed foods, and oxidative damage can destroy it before it ever reaches artery walls. That means some people produce enough nitric oxide, but lose it too quickly for it to help. Pomegranate is rich in powerful antioxidants that help neutralize the free radicals responsible for that destruction. One clinical study found improvements in blood vessel function and blood pressure markers after regular pomegranate consumption. One clinical study found improvements in blood vessel function and blood pressure markers after regular pomegranate consumption. But read labels carefully. Many commercial juices contain added sugars and diluted concentrates that dramatically reduce the beneficial compounds. Pure juice matters. And now we need to talk about the 3 daily habits, silently undoing everything we've covered so far. The first one sounds harmless. Antibacterial mouthwash. Remember the bacteria in your mouth that help convert dietary nitrates into nitric oxide? Antibacterial mouthwash wipes out many of those bacteria, which means you may drink beet juice every morning, then destroy part of the conversion system seconds later. Researchers have found measurable reductions in nitric oxide availability after regular antibacterial mouthwash use. That's astonishing when you think about it. Your oral microbiome is connected to your cardiovascular system more than most people realize. The second sabotaging habit is poor sleep. And I don't just mean sleeping fewer hours. I mean fragmented sleep, sleep apnea, late-night screen exposure, and chronic stress activation. When sleep quality drops, cortisol rises, inflammation rises, blood pressure rises, and perhaps most importantly, your arteries lose their ability to relax properly overnight. People often think blood pressure is only about food. It's not. Recovery matters too. If you snore heavily, wake up exhausted, or feel tired despite sleeping long hours, that's worth discussing with your doctor, because untreated sleep apnea is strongly linked to hypertension. The third hidden sabotager is one millions of adults use weekly without thinking twice. NSAID pain medications, ibuprofen, naproxen, similar anti-inflammatory drugs. These medications can interfere with kidney function, sodium balance, and even the effectiveness of certain blood pressure medications. That doesn't mean nobody should ever take them. It means chronic frequent use deserves medical discussion, especially for adults already struggling with hypertension. Because sometimes the issue isn't what you're adding. It's what's quietly interfering in the background. And that brings us to one of the most dangerous times of the day for your cardiovascular system. Morning. Between roughly 6 a.m. and 10 a.m., stress hormones naturally surge. Blood pressure rises sharply. Blood clotting tendency increases. And statistically, more heart attacks and strokes occur during this window than almost any other time of day. That's why your morning habits matter so much. A high-sugar breakfast, poor sleep, stress, dehydration, and sodium overload can amplify this surge dramatically. But the opposite is also true. A smarter morning routine can help soften that spike before it becomes dangerous. That's why timing matters with many of the foods we discussed. Beet juice in the morning, lower sugar breakfasts, potassium-rich foods earlier in the day, better hydration, consistent sleep patterns. These aren't random health hacks floating around social media. Together, they form a coordinated system supporting healthier vascular function from multiple angles at once. And here's the most important thing I want you to remember. None of this is about replacing medical care. It's about supporting the biological systems underneath it. Medication manages pressure. Lifestyle influences why that pressure exists in the first place. And when both work together intelligently, that's often where the biggest improvements happen. Imagine checking your blood pressure a few months from now and finally seeing numbers moving in the right direction consistently. Not because of fear, not because of punishment, but because you finally started working with your biology instead of against it. That's powerful. If this video helped you, subscribe and turn on notifications, because next week I'm breaking down the mineral deficiency that quietly stiffens arteries even in people eating healthy diets. And honestly, it may explain why some people do everything right and still struggle with high blood pressure. You do not want to miss that one. And as always, discuss any major dietary or supplement changes with your doctor, especially if you're taking blood pressure medication or managing underlying health conditions. This content is educational only and is not medical advice. Consult a qualified healthcare professional regarding your personal medical needs.